Hi all, welcome to my On the Line show presented by MySportsResults.com and sponsored by Marathon Sports and the Foss Running Camp. My interviews feature some of Connecticut's top cross country and track and field athletes, teams, and coaches. And in this episode, I want to welcome Brooke Strauss of Glastonbury again to the show. Super excited to have you on. She placed first in the mile at New Balance national indoor national meet with a 4:39 time, which broke a state record, and just ran a 10:16 in the 3200, good for third in Connecticut history. So welcome back to the show, Brooke. Super excited to have you on.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no, thanks so much for having me again.
no, of course, yeah, super excited to get into this and everything. So, but I'm gonna first start by just talking about a little bit about your indoor season. So, just gotta ask, how did it feel to get first at New Balance the national indoor meet?
Yeah, no, I definitely was super excited about it. Definitely, obviously, kind of the highlight of my indoor season. I think it was something I thought I kind of had an outside shot to win going into it, but certainly not necessarily the expected result. So definitely was super excited with it. And super awesome moment for me, especially, I had a lot of family there and stuff. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, it was an incredible race to watch. Seriously, the kick that you had at the end was spectacular. So, just kind of what was going through your mind, especially during that last lap when you really started to kick it into gear?
Yeah, well, I think it's all the races you're kind of when it's kind of getting tough towards the end, you're always thinking about kind of after the race and then thinking back like you don't want to leave anything left in the tank. And I think throughout the whole race, I was feeling really good. And kind of just as the laps was going by, I kept just thinking, wow, I'm really feeling good. Maybe I have a chance at this. And then kind of the last lap, I felt like I had done a good job like throughout the race, putting myself in a good position. So it was really, I was either gonna be, second or first. So really at that point, it was just kind of everything I had.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, again, it was really incredible to watch. And just kind of going off of what happened last year at the same meet where you placed 63rd, how did that motivate you going into this meet where you eventually got first place in the nation?
Yeah, no, definitely. Kind of last year was on my mind as I was going into the race. Last year, unfortunately, I was sick. Um, Going into New Balance National, so I was really disappointed in that because the year before I had been kind of begging to be in the fast heat because obviously that's a really cool opportunity to race against people from, all different parts of the country and really challenge yourself. So I was really disappointed that I got sick last year and really couldn't make the most of that opportunity. So definitely was something I had in my head kind of for a while, especially just because I really did not do very well last year.
Yeah, no, and just kind of touching upon that type of adversity as well. At the state open, you got second this year. And I'm also curious, how did that really push you in the mile? Because as I said before, that was in the 1600 at the state open. So how was that on your mind as well a little bit?
Um, a little bit. I mean, obviously, I think Chase had a really good race. I mean, I'd run the 1,000 before, so I don't
Mhm.
think that was something I was super necessarily. I think I was a lot more disappointed in the mile the previous year. But I think I had a good deal of confidence going into it, not necessarily from the state open, but just kind of from other races, the mile at Millrose, and then also I think the 1,000 at New Balance, or the 1,000 at New England's, I mean, gave me a lot of confidence going into it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And just I was just gonna ask about the 1,000 as well. And I know that you've raced the 800 a lot, just kind of embracing that middle distance attitude. So just going into this national indoor meet where you did run the mile, why did you opt to do that instead of doing, I know that they only do the 800, but what was the motive behind that, or what was the reason behind that choice?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of similar to what I did last year, except last year I ran the 4x8 and the 1,000. I think it's just kind of helpful for me to have, one faster pace race kind of the week before, just kind of tune up for it. Um, and then also I wanted an opportunity to run 1,000 on the bank track, because I had run 1,000 kind of one of my first races of my indoor season, that I wasn't really pleased with And so I felt like I, had some room for improvement in that, and also that it would set me up well for New Balance after that. So
Yeah, no, and just as a whole, how would you characterize this indoor season? And what were some of, obviously, what were some of the biggest triumphs and what were some of the struggles that you faced along the way?
yeah, I mean, I think my indoor season went almost as well as it could have. I think I kind of was pretty selective, maybe more so than I have been other years in the races I ran. So I think I was lucky that kind of the opportunities that I did have, for the most part, they all went well. Kind of the one race that didn't go great, was 1,000 I ran at the Armory, after the Fruit Day at Yale, so kind of one of my first faster races. But I think that was a really good experience because during that, I ended up like eighth or ninth in that race. But I think I kind of got a little bit kind of stressed out being behind and in the pack, and I think that really helped me. Like having that experience really helped me at New Balance, because kind of I was able to just relax and know that I had time to make it up. Obviously, it helps, I think, for me that it's a mile a little longer than 1,000, but definitely was a good experience to have.
Yeah, no, and just going into this indoor season, you're obviously building upon a really impressive cross country season as well. So how are you really able to maintain the momentum that you built up in that previous season?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the races I ran, I kind of worked down in distance. I mean, my first race was 3K at Yale, so obviously that has a lot more overlap with cross country. And yeah, I think even last year too, even though I didn't do as well as New Balance, I think I was really happy with my indoor season last year too. And both of those, I think, can be contributed to the cross country success, and just even the summer too, just kind of the months over the summer, just being able to consistently stay healthy. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think we're going to take our sponsorship break now. So I do want to just announce that. So we'll be right back with our interview with Brooke Strauss after we take a quick break for this message from Marathon Sports. Welcome back to our chat with Brooke Strauss. This section will focus on Brooke's recent NIL deal with Marathon Sports. So, just curious, what really drew you to sign an NIL deal with Marathon Sports?
Yeah, no, I just thought it was a super exciting opportunity. Obviously there's a marathon sports right in Glastonbury, so it really works out super well for that. I mean, they've hosted a bunch of different spike nights for my team over the years. We do a really great job, especially when people are like kind of new to the sport, bring them in and kind of figuring out what shoes work best for them. So I definitely had lots of positive experiences with my teammates. And yeah, I think it's super cool, kind of my last high school season, kind of be able to have their support. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I was just about to mention the Marathon Sports in Glassware. I've been there a couple times. It's a really, really nice store. So just kind of having that proximity, how did that really influence your decision? And was that where you got your first shoe from when you started running as well?
Yeah, no, I went there, my freshman year to get shoes. And they did a great job kind of helping me find a good shoe for me. And even before I was in high school, I've, known about them. They sponsored some different like road races, and I think they sponsored one of like a little cross country race, which was kind of my first ever cross country race, I think in like fifth grade or something. So definitely have known about them for a while, and yeah, doing super awesome things to support the sport, both high school and then obviously road races as well.
Yeah, no, and just what was the best shoe that you bought from Marathon Sports? I'm just curious.
Um, I'd say I'm liking the New Balance shoes right now. I think probably New Balance 1080, I think would probably be my choice. But I think obviously they have a good variety of all different shoes. And yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
think generally for me it's great to that they have so much variety because I don't think I'm pretty particular and kind of sticking to one shoe brand, kind of hop around. So
I was just about to say the 1080 is the exact same trainer that I use. So great shoe, but yeah, that's really cool. But just in terms of NIL in general, what type of personal brand are you trying to build for yourself as you go into your college running career?
yeah, I mean I think it's definitely something that's new for me. I wouldn't say I have a lot of experience in that, but I think just cultivating kind of the running community. Obviously, I think there's a lot of people that kind of follow me just because we see each other at meets and you get to know people. And I think the same for me as I'm following other people who I know, both teammates and people from other teams. Yeah, no, but I'm, it's definitely an interesting opportunity. And yeah.
No, that's yeah, I think that's great. And just kind of what was the initial feeling of having this first deal? I mean, it must be such a new experience. So, how is it different from anything that you've ever done, especially as you do enter this next chapter of your life?
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool. I mean, kind of when they were talking to me about it, they were talking about, obviously Soheeb also has the
Mhm.
deal. So it was kind of talking about being with a group of a few other runners, kind of New England runners. I think there's four of us now. So that was definitely cool. And then obviously it's definitely interesting with college. Obviously, lots of people I looked up to in college have different sort of NIL deals. So definitely kind of seemed like a good opportunity, especially because it's, a local company and obviously not sort of a huge pressure thing, but can, kind of support a company that, is in my hometown. And yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. But anyways, we'll be right back with our interview with Brooke Strauss after we take another break for our other sponsor, the Foss Running Camp. So we'll be right back with this interview in a couple minutes.
On the Line with Grant Walters is sponsored by Foss Running Camp, an overnight cross-country camp for middle and high school athletes of all abilities, located in nearby Torrington, Connecticut, August 14th through 19th. Go to fossrunningcamp.com for more information. Foss Running Camp, where champions are built one step at a time.
Welcome back to our chat with Brooke Strauss. This section will focus on Brooke's outdoor season, which will be her final season as a high school runner. So, just kind of getting this off, you recently just set the or had the third best time in Connecticut in the 3200, dropping a 10:16 at a dual meet, which is crazy. So I'm just curious, how were you able to do this without really any sort of competition and just kind of being by yourself?
Yeah, well, that race actually, it was really, I've been doing a lot of training with the boys actually. So me and one of my teammates on the boys team, we alternated 800s kind of pacing. So it ended up working pretty well as kind of my um, first little race of outdoor, obviously dual meet. So definitely low pressure, but it was good to kind of get that started. And I think 3200 is probably I'm planning to race that again this year, kind of similar to how I did indoor season, go from the longer races to the shorter races, and definitely I don't race the 32 that often, so it was nice to kind of have the opportunity to do that.
No, no, for sure. And just how are you feeling going into outdoor? Are you feeling refreshed from indoor? Is everything working right and everything?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm feeling really healthy. Obviously, I think that's the probably the best part of this year. Obviously, having a lot of success, but I think just kind of proving to myself that I mean, if I'm healthy, the rest of it kind of usually ends up falling into place. But yeah, I think I'm excited to see what the outdoor season holds. Obviously, it's definitely a high to come off of winning New Balance and then, but I'm super excited. And obviously have already kind of achieved some of my bigger like time goals in miles. So I think there's a lot of pressure taking off, but certainly would like to go faster, obviously.
Yeah, no, and just kind of touching upon that, what are some of your goals for this outdoor season? I mean, I know you had such an impressive indoor season, but just what are some of your goals for this season particularly?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm running a mile at next Friday at the meet sponsored by Marathon Sports up in New Hampshire. So I'm looking forward to that, kind of my first mile race of the season. Not really sure what to expect, obviously, because I do think it's different racing indoor versus outdoor. But I'm excited for that, and then obviously I'll finish up with New Balance again this outdoor season. So I think just trying to be competitive in that race again. Obviously, the race indoor was really close and competitive, and I think there's definitely a handful of people that have could have won that race depending on who had a good day. So hopefully, you know, doing as well of a job as I can of trying to set myself up to have a good day towards the end of the season too.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I also just want to touch upon your role as team captain. So, just in terms of the Glastonbury squad and the girls team, I mean, you guys have built such a great program there. How have the younger girls how have they developed, and how have you contributed to that as, this vocal leader on this team and for this program?
Yeah, no, I think definitely it's been great seeing people kind of improve and kind of get comfortable with the training throughout this year. Obviously, I think Lauren, she's doing a great job kind of adapting to it, and I'm excited to see what she does in outdoor. Yeah, and I think this outdoor season too, like the indoor season, I didn't really run the 4x8 as much. I ran it once, but not really in any of the bigger meets. So I think that's something I can kind of add back in that I'm looking forward to kind of have last few final opportunities with that too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also just touching upon your training plan going into outdoor, is anything changing, or are you kind of keeping it the same from what you were doing in cross country and even indoor as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think the past few weeks I've kind of tried to build up again. Obviously, it's you know, I have a pretty long season, obviously going till mid-June. So, kind of building back up a little bit. And then hopefully to keep it's kind of interesting with the outdoor season, just the way the schedule is wise. I've never really had a good outdoor season, honestly, because freshman year I played soccer. My sophomore year I kind of had an ankle injury, and then last year I had like a sinus infection and low iron. So maybe this is the year that I have a good outdoor season. So obviously I think there's a lot of things I haven't really accomplished in outdoor. So hoping to end it on a good note, obviously.
No, I will tell you this. I feel like as a senior, you'll just automatically be getting those goals and getting those times just because you have that like extra motivation knowing that it's like the last time you'll be taking on a high school track. So I'm definitely confident that you'll be able to do that, and you know hoping that you stay healthy and everything, and I think you can genuinely get to that point and achieve those goals. But I just wanted to add that. But also just in terms of your training plan, how are you also simultaneously preparing yourself for UConn, which you'll be attending next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of one of those things I've been thinking. Obviously, next year I'll have a lot of um, just trying to keep improving, and also kind of take advantage of the competition I have in high school and kind of try to enjoy that aspect of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
nice.
obviously it kind of all builds on itself, and then after the season, they'll kind of have a few weeks to reset and then kind of can really start moving forward over the summer and kind of gearing up for that.
Yeah, no, and I just have one final question for you, and I think this is a really good question. But what type of legacy are you trying to leave behind the Connecticut just distance runner? What type of legacy are you trying to leave behind on the on Connecticut and just like the distance culture that has been developed there? And I'm just curious, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's been a lot of people past few years, like even going into New Balance, I was thinking in my head, oh, Katie got third last year, like I can do better. So definitely, I think kind of improving the standard, and then also like times wise, and then I think also just trying to be a nice supportive person. Obviously, I think there's a lot of people I've been able to get to know, and yeah, obviously, I think like even after New Balance, like a lot of people came up and just congratulated me. So hopefully, obviously I appreciate that when I have success, and hopefully I can do the same when other people have success.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great perspective to have, and I really appreciate that. But anyways, I would like to thank you again for coming on the show. It's always really nice interviewing you and getting to hear all about your seasons and everything. And yeah, just thank you again for coming on the show. And I wish you nothing but the best in your outdoor season. You are going to absolutely kill it. So thank you again, Brooke. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No, of course. And thank you to all of our fans for joining us and stay tuned for my next interview. But for now, this is Grant Walters with On the Line signing off.